Sports coming up after the break.
First, a look at the local story coming up on the CBS Evening News.
I'm Steve Hartman. Coming up tonight on the CBS Evening News, the Capital Region's cemetery desecrating woodchuck is going national. Watch as I go on the road and underground. Tonight on the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
On the next 2.5 Men.
Why do I bother trying?
Tonight, Mitt Romney under fire. Wyatt Andrews looks at the role Romney played at Bain Capital and the outsourcing of jobs. And Jan Crawford talks to the candidate.
Doesn't the buck stop with you?
The Midwest Madoff, the CEO of Peregrine Financial, Russell Wassendorf, is arrested in a scheme that stole more than $200 million from investors. Remembering the victims of the Costa Concordia disaster 6 months later, Liz Palmer is on the island of Giglio. And Steve Hartman on the road and on the trail of flag filchers.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
Good evening. Scott's on assignment. I'm Anthony Mason.
Authorized biography on 60 Minutes, Sunday.
For our final story this week, Steve Hartman turns detective to solve a case of star-spangled larceny on the road.
At this cemetery in Hudson, New York, in a special section reserved for Civil War veterans, the crime scene remains. The remnants of what used to be rows of flags.
Someone stole dozens of American flags.
It happened just before the 4th of July.
The American flags ripped right off the flagpoles.
And it really riled this community.
Well, I'm very, very angry.
We're disgusted. It's so disrespectful what they've done to our veterans.
I want to thank everyone for coming.
After the incident, cemetery caretaker and Army veteran Vince Wallace called a news conference and announced a reward.
About $500 for the arrest and conviction of the dirtbag that did this.
Meanwhile, other veterans volunteered to replace the flags. But just a few hours later...
Guess what? It happened again.
This time it happened in broad daylight.
Again and again.
Again.
3 times there just this week.
They have no respect for the living veterans or the deceased veterans.
It really did seem like the vandals were taunting both the veterans and police, who at this point decided enough was enough and set up an undercover sting. They hid motion-activated cameras, and it didn't take long for them to get their man, so to speak. He's kind of short, but if you look at the 3rd flag down, you'll see the culprit.
So we're pretty sure now it's woodchuck related.
Woodchuck related.
Woodchucks, groundhogs.
Vince says he doesn't know how many are involved or what they'd want with flags.
Which is another big mystery. Where did they go? This is a flag.
To answer that question, he has turned to his inner Caddyshack.
The woodchuck would tear the flag off the staff, take it down into the den.
Rigging up a flag with fishing line.
But this has been here 3 days and... Nothing.
Which is why I decided to try and get to the bottom of this. With a camera on a stick, I probed for answers. And sure enough,
there,
caught the critters.
Is that a flag?
Red, white, and blue-handed.
That's a flag. I see it from my eyes right here.
For their part, the veterans who put up the flags are now doing something they never did in battle.
Yes.
Surrendering. Taking down all the flags. Temporarily.
Right now we're engaged in developing a flag holder that would hold the flag a couple feet off the ground.
Taller than a woodchuck would be.
A lot taller, yeah. And we think that's going to solve it.
I would suggest you offer an olive branch, but they'd probably just eat that too. Steve Hartman, on the road in Hudson, New York.
They finally caught the dirt bag. And that's the CBS Evening News. Scott will be back on Monday. For Scott and all of us here at CBS News, I'm Anthony Mason in New York. Thanks for watching. Good night.